So good morning, everyone. This is now our online modality. So good morning, everyone. This is now our online modality. For today's lesson, we will be having the title Global Demography, no? For the learning objectives for this session, at the end of this topic, no, students would be able to, number one, you explain the theory of demographic transition of effects of global population, no? When we say demography, it is the scientific study of human population primarily with the respect of their size, no? Their structure and their development, no? According to its studies, the size, territorial distribution, and composition of population, their change therein, its components such as changes, which may be defined as the natality or the birth, the mortality, the death, the territorial movement or the migration, and the last one would be the social mobility of the change of status, no? When we say the demographic transition, it is the demographics and transition that is used to describe and explain the movement of birth rates, death rates, and population growth, no? Typically, in a transition is when it is divided into three or four stages, no? Which was the first part, the second, the third, and the fourth, no? So the first and the third stages are characterized by low population growth. Well, the second stage in this situation, which is of high population growth, as birth rates exceed the death rates, no? The causes of transition from high to low birth rates are many, although the modernization and the development are thought to be especially important to the process of unsa man, modernization and development. No? A host is a causal variable are associated also with birth rate, and these variables can be placed into a biological or social component. No? So the biological component includes the variables related to fertility or physiological adaptability to reproduce. No? In contrast to the social component includes economic, cultural, and demographic forces that affect the birth rates, including the extent of women rights, access to birth control, abortion rights, no, religious and cultural practices, which is also closely relative to the cohort size, no, the infant mortality, the economic development, no, and all others, no. If you can remember, if you can observe the birth rate and death rate of Japan's population, unsa may atong ma-observe na when we say the birth rate and the death rate of Japan, a decreasing birth rate but an increasing death rate. So what can we conclude to that uh, information, no? The data. It shows that the culture of Japan is in its lowest birth rate and which shows the high death rate. Di ba? If you can also uh, observe the areas that are undeveloped or underdeveloped areas, no? They have uh, very high mortality rate to the birth rates, di ba? Daghan ga panganak and then ang panganak unsa man high ba ang number of deaths, di ba? Gravida para man sa nursing or the midwifery field, di ba? Subsequently, Thomas Robert Malthus, an English and cleric scholar, published the theory of writings, no? These writings or essays are on the principle of population, no? The Malthusian theory of population, which relates to the experimental population growth and the arithmetic food supply growth, no? Thomas Malthus theorized that the population increase in geometric progression, no? A geometric progress is a sequence of number where each term after the first is found by multiplying the previous one by a fixed non-zero number called the common ratio. For example, the sequence 2, 10, 50, 250, and 1, 250 are common ratio of 5, wherein on the contrary of non-zero digit, he stated that the food production increases in arithmetic progression. An arithmetic progression is a sequence of numbers such as the difference of wins of wherein the consecutive terms is constant. For example, we have 2, 5, 8, 11, 14, and 17. This refers to the PDF that I have sent in the group chat. No? So you can see if you cannot barely if you want to view the material, you can download it from the GC. No? As a result, then he proposed that through the preventative checks and positive checks of population would be controlled to the balance of food supply and population level. No? We also have this positive checks of or the natural checks. He supposed that the natural forces will correct the disparity between the food supply and population growth in the form of natural disasters such as flood, earthquakes, and man-made actions such as conflicts and starvation. So these positive checks or natural checks are the forces that will affect the food supply and population of the area. For example, if you have uh, disasters happening always in Surigao, because 'di ba? If you can remember the most common site of disaster, no, kanang because of the typhoon, 'di ba? Perminti man gid ta sa Surigao, Surigao area, Del Sur and Sur, 'di ba? Surigao del Sur, no? And del Norte. So that is between to the food supply and population growth. If the food supply is in its lowest point, then the population growth also is unequal. No? For example, also for man-made actions such as conflicts and starvation. So maybe the conflicts and starvation is equivalent to the food supply of the region or in the place wherein, if you can observe and recall, Holosulu and Cotabato are most affected to unsa man, population and food supply. Kung gamay ang food supply, meaning there are man-made actions that is being into the category of conflicts and starvation. No, you also have this term preventive checks, no, to correct the imbalance. Malthus suggested using preventive methods on regulation of the growth of population. No? This process may include family planning, late marriages, and celibacy. So these preventive checks, no, family planning. If you can remember, way back also hap- that also happened in Japan because of the high increasing number of rates of the population in Japan. The government of Japan imposed a one-child only policy. For that, the excessive birth rate would be to terminate the pregnancy or to eliminate the child. Kung dili siya i-terminate ang pregnancy, kung gipanganak niya, yun ang anak, di ba? Moreover for that, so criticism of the Malthusian theory of population. We have number 1, population growth. Number 2 is food production. No? Number 3, global trade. Number 4, calculation. So number 1, population growth. The despair and faith forecast placed forward by Malthus have not manifested. No? In the Western Europe, populations have grown not at the rate of maltose predicted, but the food manufacture has also risen because of the technological developments, no? The population growth also, ba? Because of the technological developments and advancement, the food manufacture has tripled or quadrupled the supply of food. Thus, does not affect the growth of population. Kay daghan man present nga ah, technology for producing food. Dili sad ta mag-una-una pod nga motaas pod ang population because nagtaas pod man ang food manufacturing, di ba? Number two, for food production, due to the technological innovation, food production has dramatically improved over the past century. Frequently, the food manufacture rate has grown higher than the population growth. For example, during the 1930s in the US, which is 25% of the population worked in the agricultural sector, no, while the GDP was less than 100 billion to the GDP of today, no. Less than 2% of the population works in the agricultural sector, while the total GDP is over 14 trillion times, no. That was way back in 1798. Under the third, which is the global trade, Malthus theory on the food production restriction was largely grounded onto the inadequate availability of land, no? Though because of the globalization, people can trade goods and services for food, no? Which is of the rise of the volume of food in a country can consume because of the global trade, di ba? So, number four, calculations, no? Malthus did not deliver calculation for the geometric growth of population and arithmetic growth of food, no? Since then, the experts pointed out that the growth rates are not consistent with the Malthus prediction, no? Furthermore, the economic process like globalization is found to be associated with the demographic transition, no? So, if you can remember way back 2006, no, it has provide a large empirical support to the globalization, which is directly associated with women empowerment, no. Ingon si Gray et al, no. No, that was a book published at that time, no. Uh, Found that the ratification of the UN's Convention of Elimination in all forms of discrimination against women, no, is associated with the increase of female life expectancy, reduced female literacy, and a greater promotion of females in the labor force. And moreover, this female representation in parliament, no. The figure below, which is table 1.0, page 91, found in your PDF, no? The figure below shows the population of Asia and the world in terms of urbanization, no? It is projected that by the year 2030, population on the world cities would reach 50 billion out of the 83 billion world population, no? Urbanization trend in the world is then projected to reach 60% by 2030, no? This implies that the localities, whether Asia or all over the world, are leading towards the urbanization, no? Way back in 1987, the world population is 50 billion, no? In 1999, the world population turned 60. And 2011, the world population boomed up to 70 billion. No? And in the urbanization rate in 2008, no, it has reached 50% increase to the urbanization rate and urbanization rate to as to Asia and the world. The Philippine Statistical Authority or PSA way back in 2010 reported that reported that the level of urbanization in 2010, or the proportion of the urban population to the total population, was then 45.3%. No? Nana po yung another table, you can see page 92 of the PDF. No? Apart from the National Capital Region, or the NCR, which is completely urban in 2010 and 2007. There were four regions, namely Region 3, Region 4A, Region 11, and the Region 12, no? Which had a level of urbanization higher than the level of urbanization of the entire country. So na top 3, Region 11, Region 4A, Region 11, and Region 12. So that which was 45.3% in 2010 and 42.4% in 2007. No? This indicates that the urban population of this level of urbanization of the region are directly proportional to the human resource, no, contributing factor to the progress of the nation. Diba? So the effects of global population. No? An increased level of trade provides people with incentive to have fewer children. No? As the birds fall, people are able to devote more time to acquiring human capital, pursuing other productive activities. No? Prosperity increases as people have less children. No? Based na siya sa book published in 2004 by Barrow and Salah E. Martin. No? Moreover, some research result to provide a new and interesting clue as to why international trade reduces the likelihood of a conflict. No? By publishing down the birth rates, a higher level of trade uh, relieves a population pressure on the environment and reduces the size of the youthful population. No? So these environmental pressures and a large youth population increase like likelihood of a conflict, both internal and external, no, in 2005. By relieving the pressure associated with the birth rate, international trade depresses like childhood, l- like the likelihood of a conflict. So with this also, the rapid growth of population in the poorest countries hinders the economic development, condemns children in poor countries to continue poverty, and threatens global political stability. In the book published by Sachs in 2008, no? To alleviate the issue, providing development and developing countries to access the international markets is the one way of relieving the population pressure and promote development. No? So this feature work and study the effects of other forms of globalization like foreign direct investment, immigration, and other birth rate related topics. So again, you can also play this video again. No? This is an online recorded class discussion. Please refer to the PDF so you can follow the details on the context, the topics. No? So key terms that is important to this topic, global demography, is number one, demography, which is the study of human population, and the demographic transition. The demographic transition refers to the natality or the birth and mortality, the death and the territorial movement and migration of population. So the transfer and the movement. So that is all for today. Let us answer your worksheet number 4 for this semifinal period. Thank you once again, and let us see each other again for next online recorded session. Yours truly, Thank you and goodbye.